Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel.
Okay, now for batteries, I highly recommend using the 4 to 5 plugs. In other words, if you've got a 4mm battery, it'll plug in, and then if you've got 5s, it's going to plug into that too. So that gives you options in the event that you start out with 5s, but then you buy some new batteries and they turn out to be 4s and you've got a plug that won't fit. So they're very handy. They don't cost any more than the regular ones, and you don't have to worry about one of your batteries not working. There are the only two sizes, 4 and 5s. So the electronics are all done. I put the switch back here, two-sided taped it to the shock tower. That should work fine until I actually have to do maintenance, but basically it's just flip the switch up, flip the switch down. I should be able to just reach up underneath the body. The body should hang back off a bit, so it should be nice and easy access. ESC's well positioned, got enough slack in the motor to be able to move it, you know, as much of a range as I need to. I left the ESC communication cable alone. It reaches just fine. I dramatically shortened the servo wire. It's perfect since it's going to stay in this chassis indefinitely. There's no reason to not use it, to not do that to it. As I mentioned, I took the wires from the fan and put a piece of clear shrink wrap on them, and then soldered them up to the positive and negative leads so the fan runs directly off the battery. I've done that on my last handful of kits and I really like it. I don't see any problem with having the capacitors over here. They're not in the way of anything, and they don't move. They're solid. So that's a nice clean installation as far as I see it. There's tuning yet to be done, and that will get done on the tuning board, and I will show you that with all the tools. This is ongoing video for the Xray T4, and I'm prepping this for USGT racing. And let's see, I think I've got these two tires switched. Anyway, I'm just getting set up here anyway. It doesn't matter right now. I wanted to go over some performance parts I'm adding. They're a little on the pricey side when you combine everything, but it is supposed to make a difference. And this is a controlled class, as I've mentioned. USGT limits you to a specific motor. Everyone has to use the same type of motor. And so anything you can do to improve efficiency is going to be a benefit. In that vein, these are some of the items that Xray's professional drivers opt for and prefer. These are the fixed pulleys for the lay shaft. They are a low friction composite plastic, and they're going to replace the little geared pulleys that go on either side of our main spur gear here. Then there's a pair of, these are only about $14 for the pair. They're not that expensive. These are where it starts getting more expensive. They're about $25 a piece. These are low friction Kevlar belts, and they are supposed to make a big difference in the overall performance of the car as far as its efficiency. So I got those run about $25 a piece. So maybe they were 23. Anyway, you're talking close to $50. These two items can be gotten, if you can still find them in orange, great, or they are available in black. It's the same part. It's the adjustment hubs for the two differentials. They go onto the bearings and inside our bulkheads on either side, and they're as you can see, they're marked, so they're like an ellipse, and or concentric, and allow us to adjust our belt tension. The aluminum ones are a little more precise than the plastic. It may not make a huge difference, but every little bit counts, and they are recommended. So I went ahead and got 2 pairs, one for the front, one for the rear. Part numbers for these are 302063. The numbers for the belts are 305436. And the lay shaft pulleys are 305578-0, and they are graphite. So I'm going to go ahead and install these items. You've seen the build, you know where they go, so I don't think it's worth going through the whole process of showing you the disassembly and reassembly, just to swap identical looking parts for identical looking parts. So in any event, I'm going to go ahead and get going on that process. I was just looking at the numbers on here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and swap these out. If there's anything worth showing you, I will show you. Otherwise, the next video is going to be shock absorbers, and in that video you're going to see which springs I'm choosing, and I am going to be using the progressive shock system on the front shocks only, and I will explain how that works in detail. Basically, the damping force increases as the piston travels further up into the shock body, and that reduces front end dive when you brake hard or decelerate hard. It also reduces front end dive as you pivot hard into turns. Anything that is going to compress either the left, right, or both suspension sides in the front. Not necessarily needed for the rear or recommended for the rear, but definitely recommended for the front. So there wasn't anything special in this process. In fact, it came together very quickly. Removed the top deck, removed the 4 screws that hold the caps on. I didn't even remove the camber links or the shock towers, just lift the 2 brackets up with the shock tower still attached. You can lift the diff right out, make the swap of the parts, drop it back in, adjust the belt tension, and then tighten everything back down again, and remount the top brace. While I was there, I put on my pinion. I'm starting with a 24 tooth pinion. Excuse me, I'm starting with a 25 tooth pinion. These drive belts do feel really smooth, and the composite gears are on. Now, these are 2 more items that I also picked up that are specific for this car. 306551 is a 12-gram tungsten weight. It's steel, and it's designed to fit right here in this little depression where the motor might go if you had the motor on the opposite side. In this case, it goes underneath the battery. And then this is a 35-gram tungsten steel weight. This goes underneath the battery right here. You attach it with thin 2-sided tape. I'm just going to use a Scotch tape variety of, it's extremely thin like any other cellophane tape. And you just put a small strip at either end of it because you want it to be able to flex with the chassis, you want the chassis to be able to flex independent of the weight. So you just anchor it at either side. You don't need to put a big long strip of 2-sided tape. First off, it's overkill. Second off, you want the chassis to be able to move. You don't want to take away flexibility. Do you find these videos to be helpful, useful to you? Then please help me keep this channel going by donating. Click the link up here and you can donate safely through PayPal on either a one-time or a monthly basis, your choice. These are necessary for many classes because weight is a factor. Now, I'm going to be doing some club racing. I'll probably get a couple of weekends at most before the season closes out this year. But I'm going to be campaigning this car next year. I'm probably also going to do a touring car and VTA, so that'll be 3 four-wheel drive touring chassis. I'm probably going to get another Xray, and I'm going to get the newest version. It's actually not called this is the T4. The new one is called the X4. I believe it's just starting to hit pre-order in some of the European shops. It's a radical change. Xray is using A-arms top and bottom instead of this type of swing arm. They're on pivot balls, and they're literally shaped like a letter A or similar to that. But the interesting thing is it's a combination of carbon fiber and plastic. So they have a carbon fiber component, and they put that inside a mold, and then they injection mold plastic around it. And that allows you to have the flexibility and the rigidity, the directional rigidity of carbon fiber pieces, while having the ability to have things like pop-in ball sockets that you can only do with plastic. You can't do that with metal or carbon fiber. Without having to use a whole bunch of extra parts, and those extra parts end up creating a lot of unnecessary movement, or things become loose, and things aren't as tight. It's supposed to handle really, really well, and it's supposed to be a huge improvement over this vehicle, which is already a top of the line touring car. So it's definitely one of the best. And Xray is really noted for pushing the limits of technology and what's possible. It's an expensive car. It runs over $700 just for the kit. That doesn't include servos, motors, wheels, tires, body, anything. It's just the rolling chassis. So it's probably going to be a good $1,200–1,300 when built. But it's just supposed to be outstanding. That's the only way I can describe it. There's a little bit of buzz right now. It's as more and more people get them and start building them. Right now, they're only in the hands of the team people. But if you go to Xray's website, you'll find some really interesting videos on their manufacturing and design process for creating these new components. It's just everything is different. Instead of having a carbon fiber shock tower, they have an aluminum yoke, which mounts the shock absorbers. So a lot of their design structure and methodologies changed with this new technology they've come up with, this new process of molding carbon and plastic together. Looks like it's going to be real special. So anyway, that's it for this video. The next video will be shock absorbers, and as long as I'm mounting the shock absorbers, I'm going to cover the body fitment and adjustment of these parts here. The body, I did a separate body that I did a real quick paint job on. I just did a single color and some stickers that came with it. I figured that I want to make this as light as possible for GT class. And so I figured that every time I add an extra color and then have to back it with silver, and then another color and then back it with silver, yeah, I can make a really neat looking car, but the bodies get banged up in no time, and it's just not worth spending all that money and time on paint. One good visible color, I'm fine with that. Maybe a nice stripe or something, but in this case I just did single color and stickers. Seemed like a nice way to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like and please subscribe to my channel. If you click the bell icon, you'll receive notifications every time I launch a new video. Thank you for watching.